Hello, what's up guys? Welcome back to my channel. In this video, we will be talking about this Skin Aqua Sunplay Physical Sunscreen for Sensitive Skin SPF50+, PA++++. I think this is the first physical sunscreen for Skin Aqua Sunplay. I believe this is being launched only recently. It's not that long ago, probably somewhere this year. Yeah, I'm only finally picking it up because I have other sunscreen to try out, which is the latest one is this one actually. I think what intrigued me the most also is because it says here for sensitive skin, and usually physical sunscreen, it is always associated to people who has more of the sensitive skin. There is a difference between a physical sunscreen and a chemical sunscreen. So chemical sunscreens are like some of the other Skin Aqua Sunplay that I have. I actually do have quite a few of them. As you can see, I actually really do enjoy using Skin Aqua or Sunplay sunscreen. I just absolutely love them. I feel like they are, as a sunscreen, they are not on the super expensive side. They do have more expensive one, like this one. This one is actually more expensive one, this gold one, but because it is more of like a super moisture gold range, which I will talk about this in another video. And this physical sunscreen is also on the more expensive side. But for example, like this one, the UV watery gel is actually not too expensive. It's actually quite reasonable. And for like a outdoor sports high SPF, this is actually quite reasonable. I think it's comparatively to a lot of other sunscreen out there, this is very cheap already. Yeah, anyway, I kind of diverted. So chemical sunscreens are pretty much more of like every other thing that I have here pretty much, okay? And a lot of drugstore sunscreen that you see out there, those are generally most of the time chemical sunscreen. Usually physical sunscreen, they will always tell you that it's a physical sunscreen. Sometimes there's also a mix of like a physical and a chemical sunscreen. Now, if you don't know what's the difference, what it meant is that the sunscreen actually just stays on the surface of your skin. So the way that the sun kind of bounce, not really sun, more of like the UVA, UVB or the harmful rays, the way it bounces is that it hits the surface of the skin and then it kind of goes away, it kind of reflects out, okay? As for chemical sunscreen, if you use chemical sunscreen, what the rays do is that they actually still go into your skin first, and then after that only it reflects out. So the chemical sunscreen, the texture is definitely easier to kind of absorb into the skin. It just looks nicer, it just looks more natural. It doesn't feel like it's heavy or greasy or anything. But usually for physical sunscreen, you can definitely feel like it leaves a layer on the surface of the skin, but that is just very normal for physical sunscreen. That's just how it is as a physical sunscreen, okay? So that's kind of the easiest way to kind of describe physical and chemical sunscreen. If you want to know more about it, you can always just go and Google it. I don't really have a lot of experience when it comes to physical sunscreen. I only try out one other physical sunscreen, which is the Aveeno physical sunscreen. That one, I only started using that is also because I had eczema. When I had like real big major flares, that's where I kind of Googled like what kind of sunscreen should I use, because chemical sunscreen kind of do irritate my skin a little bit, especially when my eczema start flaring up and stuff like that, or when I have extremely sensitive skin. They do kind of irritate my skin a little bit, so that's why they always suggest that if you have eczema or really super extremely sensitive skin, go for a physical sunscreen. They usually don't irritate your skin as much because they don't really absorb into the skin as much. The whole point is that they stay on the surface of the face. Of course, with that, there is also the downside of it. Usually physical sunscreens, they always say that there's always white cast. You will always expect white cast from a physical sunscreen, and it's always a little bit thicker and heavier to apply on the skin, and to kind of spread it out on the skin, it's always a little bit harder when it comes to physical sunscreen. It's very normal, okay? So just expect some of those things when you use physical sunscreen. Don't compare a physical sunscreen to a chemical sunscreen. So we're gonna compare a physical sunscreen, we'll compare it to another physical sunscreen. So this Skin Aqua one, I bought it myself. So this is in 50 ml. This is 55 ringgit and 86 cents. I don't know where is the discount. I don't remember how much is discounted also, but it's 55 ringgit and 86 cents. And it comes in a nice packaging like this. When it says 6-free formula, it's free from chemical sunscreen ingredient free, it's alcohol free, colorant free, mineral oil free, paraben free, and oxybenzone free. Ultra light and moisturizing, clinically tested. The great part about this is that this also has ceramide in here. That's why I was like, ooh, ceramide. I love ceramide. Any skincare that has ceramide in there, I generally do get very excited for them because my skin absolutely loves ceramide. And it also has like natural botanicals added. That is the one that I'm a bit worried about, like natural botanicals. Like, what is that? Just because it's natural botanicals doesn't necessarily mean that your sensitive skin can take it. Usually if it's for sensitive skin, sometimes natural is not always the best ingredient to go for. So for example, like essential oils and stuff like that, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's okay for your skin. Like, you might still get irritated. It says that you can use for face and body. It's 100% physical sunscreen with SPF 50 plus PA+++++, provides broad spectrum UVA and UVB protection for sensitive skin. InvisShield technology provides an ultra lightweight, non-greasy texture which easily absorbs into the skin with no residue and white cast. I can't really agree with that, but we'll get to that later. Ceramide and natural botanical extract helps strengthen skin's natural barrier, improves hydration, soothe redness and dryness caused by sun exposure to maintain radiant and youthful skin. Clinically tested, suitable for sensitive skin. So let me first tell you about, I guess, the texture and how it feels on my skin when I apply on, basically what I think about using this. Basically, I've been using this for about, I think about 2 weeks now, and I think I have a really good sense of like knowingness of what I think about this product. When you pump it out, it's definitely very white, and it's definitely thicker than normal chemical sunscreen. It's definitely a bit thicker, but it's not that bad. I do think that it is thinner in consistency as compared to the other physical sunscreen that I've tried. I do think that is definitely a more of a easier to apply sunscreen, a more of a easier to kind of making sure that it's even out. When it comes to white cast, I definitely do say that it's not as bad as other physical sunscreen that I had or tried before, but I do think that it still definitely has, like, this thing definitely lies to you that it says that it doesn't have white cast. With the amount of sunscreen that you need to use, the white cast is definitely noticeable. For me, even when I have fair skin, the fact that I can see it in person, like in the mirror, not like on the camera. I mean, on the camera it's a bit cheating. You can definitely see white cast no matter what, but in the mirror itself, like in person, I can also see a little bit of that white cast. It's not super bad, but definitely it is noticeable. Is it lightweight? I do think that this, when you first apply it on, it's not very heavy. I definitely do think that it kind of leaves a little bit of that glow. However, it doesn't last. The glow doesn't last. Like, the moisture doesn't really last on the skin. It just feels like, I think somewhat it kind of dries me out a bit. Like, after a while of using it, like when you go out and do whatever shit it is, I feel like this sunscreen somewhat dries me out a little bit. The moisture, the hydratingness doesn't really last on the skin. Like, the glow doesn't really last on the skin, which is a little bit sad because I do have a lot of dry patches, and it does make my dry patches quite, like, pretty obvious. Okay, sensitive skin, I do think that when it touches my skin, if I don't really have super extremely sensitive skin that day, it's okay. Like, I think it's okay on my skin, but I do feel like if, let's say, my eczema is actually really flaring out that particular day, I can't really use this sunscreen. Also, it just feels like it does tingle my skin a little bit if I do have eczema skin that particular day or that particular week or something like that. Overall, as a physical sunscreen, it is okay, but as a physical sunscreen for sensitive skin, now that's where I also am a little bit like because looking at this, they do actually have fragrance, although they don't write fragrance or perfume on the ingredients list here. If you see nicely, there is one part that it says lavender oil, so that is, I would assume that is the fragrance that they have in here. Usually when it comes to like sensitive skincare products, it's general knowledge of people would say that, you know, if you have sensitive skin, just avoid anything with fragrance or avoid anything with perfume. So usually when you want to create products for sensitive skin, you try to avoid putting in fragrance or even essential oils into your skincare. People with sensitive skin, even essential oil might irritate the skin itself. A lot of times the fragrances or the perfume are the ones that can cause irritation as well. So it's weird. Like, it's weird that they create a product that's for sensitive skin and then they want to add in like a lavender oil. It's not that it's not pleasant. The smell is absolutely pleasant. It smells really good. The lavender oil is very calming and very nice. I really absolutely love the scent of this. Like, it's not overpowering as well, and it doesn't linger on your skin too long, like the scent itself. However, I still feel like if you want to make something for sensitive skin, then just try to avoid using any sort of like oils, essential oils, or scented stuff. Yeah, usually sensitive skin people will try to avoid those things. I do know that, you know, there are some other skincare such as like Aven. Some of their products actually do have like fragrance in there as well. Yeah, probably their target market is just a little bit different. Like, it's not bad, but it's just that maybe different kind of target market. But for me, I generally just try to avoid any sort of fragrance at all. Like, I prefer no fragrance. I would just prefer no colorant, no fragrance, and stuff like that. That's just how I like to roll in terms of any sort of skincare products that's meant for sensitive skin. Will I still use this? I will definitely still use this. I do think that as a physical sunscreen, it's not as bad as compared to some other physical sunscreen that I've tried. I think it's an okay physical sunscreen. It's just unfortunate I don't know if it's that great for sensitive skin or not. Just to make sure that if you're gonna be taking pictures or whatever, just don't use this, because the white cast is still pretty noticeable, especially in front of a camera. But on a normal day, everyday basis, I think this is okay. It lasts okay. It's not too bad. It doesn't feel super heavy on the skin, but it definitely does dries me out a little bit. Yeah, anyway, so that's my thought on this Skin Aqua Sunplay physical sunscreen. Packaging wise, very nice. I definitely do like the sleek feeling of this. I wouldn't say that I 100% don't recommend this at all, because it is alright. But if you want something that's without like fragrance, then you might want to avoid this. But if your skin is okay with fragrance, you have sensitive skin but your skin is okay with fragrance, then yeah, probably go for this and you might actually enjoy it also. Yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoy. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!
Don't forget to like and subscribe!